An accident on Jasper's south side caused problems during this morning's commute. We'll tell you what happened. Plus, Huntingburg's Denny Spinner joins me for tonight's edition of Monday with the Mayor, and the National Day of Prayer is tonight's subject on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. An early morning accident near the DuBois County Highway Department garage backed up traffic temporarily. At 5:20 a.m., DuBois County Sheriff's deputies were called to the intersection of State Road 162 and Schnellville Road on a report of a two-vehicle accident. Deputies say 30-year-old Lionel Cooper of Dale was southbound on State Road 162 approaching the intersection with Schnellville Road. Meanwhile, Jeremy Blake of Bristow was sitting at the stoplight preparing to turn left onto State Road 162 at the south side bypass. Deputies say Blake was waiting for the green light when he noticed Cooper's vehicle coming southbound at a high rate of speed. Blake told deputies he saw Cooper's car drive onto the right shoulder and then go back left and head towards his truck. Cooper's vehicle then crossed the center line, went through the traffic signal, and drove into the intersection, colliding head-on with Blake's truck. The impact caused Cooper's vehicle to spin 180 degrees and come to rest facing northwest, while Blake's vehicle was pushed backwards and came to rest facing east. Cooper later told deputies that he recalls feeling sick and may have blacked out as he was approaching the intersection. Blake sustained a laceration to the head and complained of pain in his left ankle and neck. Cooper was not injured. Both vehicles were total losses, and Cooper was cited for disregarding an automatic signal. He also received a warning for driving left of center. The intersection was closed for roughly 30 minutes this morning while the scene was being cleaned up and traffic was rerouted over the bypass. The Jasper Police Department, Memorial Hospital EMS, and wreckers from Ubelors and Rooksers also assisted. On a related note, that accident was the second one of the early morning involving Schnellville Road. A Jasper man was arrested on drug charges after he crashed his car earlier in the overnight hours. DuBois County Sheriff's deputies were called to a one-vehicle accident near the intersection of Schnellville and Rusty Acres Roads just before 1:20 this morning. Deputies say 27-year-old Timothy Myers Jr. had crashed his vehicle into a ditch along Schnellville Road. A drug test at Memorial Hospital found that Myers Jr. had methamphetamine, amphetamines, and methadone in his system. Myers was arrested and booked into the DuBois County Security Center. He is charged for operating while intoxicated and is also facing various other drug charges. Myers is additionally cited for having a false registration. A Daviess County toddler died over the weekend following an accident with a skid steer loader. Daviess County Sheriff's deputies say 4-year-old Regina Whitmer died at 12:40 Saturday afternoon after suffering head trauma in the accident. Sheriff's deputies say the accident occurred at 10:20 that morning on a property in the 11,000 block of County Road 950 North near Regalsville. Deputies say Matthew Whitmer was using this skid steer loader at the time. He stopped to pick up Regina and her 2-year-old brother. Deputies say as Matthew was loading the 2-year-old, a lever was accidentally pushed, causing the loader to be moved forward. The loader then ran over Regina's head and shoulder. Regina Whitmer was airlifted to Corsair Children's Hospital in Louisville, where she succumbed to her injuries. Local authorities are continuing their investigation into a case of animal neglect in Huntingburg that was uncovered late last week. On Friday morning, Huntingburg Police, with the assistance of the DuBois County Animal Control Team and the DuBois County Humane Society, found 37 dogs, 9 of which were dead, at a Huntingburg residence. Now, police were originally contacted by members of the DuBois County ACT about the alleged animal neglect at the North Washington Street home of 66-year-old Mary Birch, following a months-long investigation into the matter. A Huntingburg officer and members of the ACT visited the home based off of information gathered in that investigation. After the Friday morning visit, police sought a search warrant. After securing the warrant, officers and members of the Animal Control Team and the DuBois County Humane Society returned to the home at about 1:30 on Friday afternoon. The dogs were all taken out of the home by the Humane Society and by Animal Control. Now, as I mentioned, police say their investigation is continuing and further charges are still pending against Birch as of news time. She is currently facing a Class A misdemeanor for animal neglect. A nationwide event came to DuBois and surrounding counties this past weekend. The 8th edition of Drug Take-Back Day was held at several locations across the county, including at the State Police Post in Jasper. The The collection was for expired, unwanted, and unused medications, vitamins, ointments, syrups, drops, and aerosols not in pressurized containers. Sergeant Philip Hensley says people showed up early and often throughout the day.
It's probably the busiest first hour I've seen in the last several years, which is a great turnout. A lot of people bringing a lot of stuff, cleaning out their cabinets from themselves, their parents. It's an excellent opportunity to go through and get that stuff out of your house.
Hensley says getting the unwanted medication out of the home is as important as ever.
For one, you don't have to worry about flushing it or putting it into the water system. This way it goes through a process by the Drug Enforcement Agency. They dispose of it properly so it doesn't end up back in the environment or your drinking water. Plus, by having, a lot of people have a lot of surgeries, a lot of illnesses, and they have a big stockpile of some of these medications. If people know that, if the bad guys know that you've got this kind of medication in your home, it kind of opens the door for people to want to break in.
Collection sites were also set up at the DuBois and St. Anthony fire stations. The DuBois County Sheriff's Department presided over those collection sites. The State Police Post ran their collection from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. while the other sites were open from 10 a.m. till noon on Saturday. Hensley says in all, 492 pounds of unwanted prescription drugs were collected on Saturday. Indiana State Police once again remind folks that keeping expired and unused medicines in the home is not safe. They say some medicine looks like candy to a child, and some may be tempting to a teen or someone who has a problem. Finally this evening, this year's schedule for the Spirit of Jasper train has now been announced. 4 types of trips are on this year's schedule. They include the Jasper to French Lick excursion, the Ride and Dine excursion, the Cowboy Ride and Dine excursion, and the Fall Foliage excursion. The Ride and Dine trains will once again feature catering from the Schnitzelbank restaurant. There are 22 weekend trips in all this year, and they get underway starting on Saturday, June 7th. The rides conclude for the season Saturday, November 1st. The French Lick trains leave Jasper at 10 a.m., while the Ride and Dine trains are set to leave on Saturdays at 6 p.m. The Cowboy Ride and Dines are set to depart at 4 o'clock on Saturdays and at 11:30 a.m. on Sundays. These trips will feature a train robbery and various other props, including cowboy hats for passengers. Now, as for the Fall Foliage trips, there are 5 of those on this year's schedule. Those will also leave at 4 o'clock on Saturdays and 11:30 a.m. on Sundays. The Monon dining car is also set to return as part of this year's train. That car has seating for 30 and will feature tableside dining along with china and linen for guests. For more information, including a complete schedule, online tickets, prices, and reservations, you can go online to spiritofjasper.com. You can also call the Jasper Park Department at 482-5959. All right, coming up after the break, Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner is our guest this week for Monday with the Mayor, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform featuring National Prayer Day. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.